industry is a massive sector of the broader travel industry, generating over $35 billion in revenue each year, a figure that has seen a steady 5% growth for the past 5 years. Geographically, the Caribbean is the world's largest cruise market, representing over 40% of annual cruises, followed by the Mediterranean, which accounts for another 23%. Market share in the cruise industry is dominated by Carnival, Royal Caribbean, and Norwegian Cruise Lines, accounting for over 75% of the market share. Analysis of the consumer base for the cruise industry showed opportunity for firms to gear their marketing efforts towards the 18 to 34 years of age crowd. Surprisingly, the consumer base is split almost 50-50 between those below the age of 45 and those older than 45. In addition, 33% of cruisers surveyed who have taken a cruise in the past 3 years have a household income of less than $80,000, signaling further that all age, income, and budget levels show interest in the industry. Firms in the industry have proven most influential in reaching their target markets through the use of social media, magazines, and television. Perhaps the most surprising aspect of the cruise industry is its continued reliance on travel agents for bookings. Due to the emergence of the internet and its influence on the travel industry as a whole, it was interesting to learn that bookings through travel agents account for 80% of all cruise bookings. Overall, growth and future revenue projections reaching over $40 billion per year show the cruise industry is favorable to enter from a market perspective. Consumer analysis also points to favorable entry to the cruise industry, although with 3 large firms dominating over 75% of the market share, competitor analysis shows it's very unfavorable to enter the cruise industry. We will now dive deeper into each of these sections, beginning with market analysis.
In 2016, revenue in the cruise industry hit $35.5 billion. The success of the industry comes from the variety of products, experiences, and the different marketing strategies that cruise lines can capitalize on. For example, Carnival Cruise markets themselves as the fun ship, while Queen Elizabeth II markets themselves as a classy and exclusive ship. Market share in the cruise industry in 2017 is dominated by Carnival Corporation with 44% of the market share, Royal Caribbean with 24%, and Norwegian Cruise Lines with 9% of the market share, which totals up to almost 75% of the market. In the past 5 years, there has been a 20.5% increase in demand for cruising. Also, in the past 5 years, the industry grew by 5%, and a steady increase like this is expected for the next 5 years to come. The degree of economic impact of the cruise industry in 2016 is reflected by what is shown in this graphic, with 24.7 million passengers going on cruises, about 1 million full-time jobs created from cruises, and $41.1 billion in wages and salaries generated from cruises, and the $126 billion total worldwide output created by cruises. This figure shows the most popular cruise destinations frequented by firms in the cruise industry. The most popular destination in the Caribbean, followed by the Mediterranean Sea, other parts of Europe, Asia, Oceania, Alaska, and South Africa. Vessel deployment strategies and itinerary design are highly important decisions for cruise operators, and they are influenced by market and operational decisions. The Caribbean is the world's largest cruise market due to the fact that Americans create the most demand in the cruise market and they want to travel typically to the Caribbean. Cruise-related expenditures are directly responsible for 56,000 jobs worth $720 million in wage income for residents throughout the Caribbean. The second largest cruise market is the Mediterranean because of all the popular stops that tourists can take on the European coastline. The cruise industry accounts for 225,586 jobs in Europe and over $12 billion of direct expenditure by cruise companies.
So now I'm going to speak about the customer analysis. So we took the data from the 3 past years for the cruise industry. So there is like 22% of the passengers who have been on a cruise in the past 3 years. They are between 18 and 34 years old. 33% of them are between 35 and 54 years old. And 44% of them are older than 55. So it's like the biggest share of the customers. Concerning the household income, there is 33% of them which is less than $80,000 a year, so which means that the cruise industry is accessible to basically all incomes and budget levels. And concerning the children, there is nearly 25% of them who are between 6 and 17 years old. So the biggest improvement in the age category is for the 35 to 54 with a 8% improvement. Concerning like where the passengers come from, so obviously the majority of the passengers, as you can see on the graph, come from the USA with like 11 million people, and then we follow with like China, Germany, UK and Australia, even though there is like a big gap with the USA obviously, and then with less than 1 million we have Canada, Italy, France and Brazil. So concerning the brand loyalty, in order to achieve a bigger brand loyalty, bigger companies like Carnival, Royal Caribbean or like Norwegian, they are trying to build massive ships with what we can call icon abilities features. Like as an example, we can speak about the new ship of Norwegian, which built like a go-kart track on top of the ship. So obviously this is something that this is not usual to see in a ship. And at the same time, while improving features remain important for the companies, they are more and more trying to focus on developing more extensive loyalty programs. So, for example, like the rewards come from like complimentary meals to concierge services or even free cruises for the most loyal customers. And last, I will speak about the environmental impact. So, in general, we can say that there is a rising public attention about the oceans. Even though there is no study studied like the cruise industry as the major contributor of climate change issues in the oceans, we can say that obviously the cruise industry needs clean oceans in order to like have a good business, because there is no attraction for the customers to sail on polluted waters and beaches. So as a conclusion, there is a benefit for the industry to show they care about the environment, because there is more and more people seeking for responsible travel choices. And as a result, there is new government regulations in some regions of the world which are seeking for cleaner burning fuels. So in order to achieve this goal, the cruise industry is spending $millions on upgrading their own fleets in order to save money on fuel and energy costs over a long-term period.
Okay, I will speak about computer analysis. We have three major companies in the cruise industry. The biggest company is Carnival. It has a share market of 3.95 in the second quarter of 2017. The company operates 10 brands with 110 ships. The company focused on acquiring several small companies in the industry to increase the number of ships and differentiate their services and reduce the risk. Second company is Royal Caribbean. The company holds a market share of 2.2 billion in the second quarter of 2017. The company operates 5 different brands, and they focus on higher quality services and higher prices. Third company is Norwegian. It's the smallest company of the big three. They have a revenue of 1.3 billion. The company had a strategy of expanding in China with the partners Alibaba Group. Second, positioning strategies for the big three companies. Carnival emerged the most family-friendly and affordable line. Due to its lower costs, it attracts all segments looking for budget vacations. Second, Royal Caribbean. It stands out with a higher price and higher quality line, and it attracts all older people, like above 40 years old. The third one is Norwegian. Is a line with higher popularity in Eastern Hampshire and attracting European customers of all ages, though they market more towards a younger demographic between 25 years old and 40.
Alright, now I'm going to talk about product, price, and promotion. In the cruise line industry, product is very similar along all the different companies. The three major companies, Carnival, Royal Caribbean, and Norwegian, technically have the same product, but they try and alter it in different ways to get consumers to come to their side. Some of the different ways that they could alter their product are destinations, the stops that they make along the way, how many days it takes to make the trip, rooms, activities on board, and also the restaurants that they have on board for people to eat at. One of the ways that Norwegian tries to take advantage of changing their product is by offering a fifth room option. All three of the main cruise lines have 4 different room options. They've got interior, ocean view, balcony, and suite. But Norwegian goes a step further and they have a 5th room option, which is called the mini suite. And that takes advantage of the people who don't want to spend the money on the suite, but want to get something nicer than the balcony, and it gives the company more money than they would have gotten otherwise if they just had the balcony room. One of the biggest ways that they can alter their product is destination. And Royal Caribbean and Norwegian actually offer destinations all around the world, whether it's Asia, Europe, South America, North America, Australia. And Carnival, on the other hand, only offers destinations in North America, which cuts off a huge part of the market for them. It cuts off all the international market. But they put all their effort and work into the most profitable part of the world, the Caribbean and the cruise line industry. So now I'm going to talk about price. A lot of the price in the cruise line industry is relatively similar also, but they use a bunch of different pricing strategies. So some of the different pricing strategies that are used in cruise line industry are product line pricing, product bundle pricing, optional pricing, value pricing, and promotional pricing. Product line pricing is probably the most used one, just because they can alter their product in so many different ways, whether it's the days that the trip is long, 4-day, 5-day, 14-day, and then they've got optional pricing, which is activities that are on board, and it just creates a crazy price increase over time, because those are purchases that people are going to make after they make the initial cruise purchase. So once they get on that cruise, then they're either going to have to pay for drinks or activities, comedy clubs, whatever they have there. Then they've got product bundling, which is when they group airfare or ground fare with the cruise. So what a lot of cruise lines will do is they will reserve a plane ticket for customers to fly to where the set-off location is. And then once they land there at the airport, they'll actually sometimes arrange for ground transportation to get them to the port. They've also got value pricing, which is used on things such as drink packages. And what's interesting right now is Norwegian has a deal going on where they have free open bars on some of their cruises. But what they don't tell you is that there's an $18 fee each day for gratuity. Then they've got promotional pricing, which is probably the most obvious. It's what you usually see when you see an ad for cruise lines. It's things like sales and deals, and the good thing about promotional pricing in this industry is that cruises are so expensive that it gets people who didn't think they would be able to afford a cruise to look at it and be in the purchase ready mode, and they kind of are thinking that they're going to be able to do it more. So it gives them more customers. Then I'm going to go on to promotion. In promotion in cruise line industry, the companies market kind of towards what they're going after. So Norwegian uses their catchphrase, sail Norwegian or go Norwegian or something, trying to kind of distance themselves from that Caribbean market that has so many different cruise lines in it. So they kind of want the people who are trying to go to other places in the world. Carnival has their slogan, which is choose fun. And they're kind of gearing towards families, younger kids, grandparents, and all that stuff who want to bring their family on a cruise and let their kids have a good time. Royal Caribbean, on the other hand, tries to be the kind of clean and simplistic. It makes you kind of think of the way Apple markets. They want to be the kind of chic thing. I've seen a lot of their advertisements that just have their logo on it. They want their logo to be synonymous with their name and not even have to mention it. Just put their logo on there and you'll know that's Royal Caribbean. Some of the best ways to reach these target markets are social media, magazines, and television. 15 million people in their mid-40s, which is one of the most popular age brackets, is social media. So that would be a great way to reach parents that are in their mid-40s. 8 million people in the older age group, around 70 years old or so, that would be taking their grandkids on it, read magazines. And some of the good magazines that they could use to do this would be Grand, WebMD, and Parents. So Grand is a magazine that's geared towards grandparents trying to build a relationship with their grandkids. And that costs about $10 per 1,000 views, which is a great price per 1,000, but the circulation in it isn't as great. So what they could do is use WebMD to get a better circulation with a little bit more price, which is going to be about $94 per 1,000, and that's geared towards the same target market of older people trying to look at health problems and the way that they can fix that. The third magazine is Parents Magazine, and it is geared towards, of course, parents, and it's about $106 per 1,000 views, and it covers that younger demographic. And then also television is a great way to market to a broad spectrum of ages, just because people are going to be watching television in the morning before they go to work, and then they're also going to be primarily watching it at night when they're trying to relax after unwinding from work.
I will be talking about place today and how a high proportion of cruises are booked through travel agents. The cruise line industry is a $37.8 billion industry and is expected to climb to well over $57 billion by the year of 2027. Due to the emergence of the internet and its influence of the travel industry, it was interesting to learn that 80% of the bookings are made through travel agents. To summarize some of our key findings, Royal Caribbean, Carnival, and Norwegian alone make up 75% of the cruise line industry market share. The United States is the biggest market in the world for the cruises, with 11.5 million people going on a cruise in 2016. In 2018, the Cruise Lines International Association expects the number of people taking cruises to rise to 25.3 million. So overall, growth and future revenue projections show the cruise industry is favorable to enter from a market perspective. Customer analysis also points to favorable entry to the cruise industry, although with 3 large firms dominating over 75% of the market share, competitive analysis shows it is very unfavorable to enter the cruise industry. That is the end of our presentation. Thank you for listening.